Hey, legal drama enthusiast, welcome back to the channel. Today, we're diving deep into the second episode of Suits LA titled Old Man Hanrahan. If you thought the premiere packed a punch, this follow up episode takes everything up a notch as Ted Black navigates the aftermath of his partnership's collapse while facing new challenges in Lester Thompson's murder case. Before we dive into this episode's details, a quick reminder this video will contain major spoilers for episode 2. I'm going to break down everything, all the twists, turns, and jaw dropping moments. So if you haven't watched it yet, now's your chance to pause this video and come back after you've experienced it for yourself. For those who missed our breakdown of the premiere, here's a lightning quick recap. Ted Black, a former New York prosecutor turned lay entertainment lawyer, took on the murder case of high-profile client Lester Thompson despite his reluctance to return to criminal law. This decision led to the dissolution of his partnership with Stuart Lane, who betrayed Ted by breaking up their firm. We also learned that Ted regularly sees the ghost of his brother Eddie, who had Down syndrome and was murdered, a unique supernatural element that sets this show apart from other legal dramas. Episode 2 picks up right where we left off, with Ted working from temporary offices, assembling his team, and diving deeper into Lester's case. But the obstacles keep mounting as we discover that Old Man Hanrahan, the expected district attorney, isn't even Ted's opponent. Instead, he faces a ruthless young prosecutor with a personal vendetta against both Ted and his team. For this hour-long breakdown, I'll be covering everything: the evolving case details, the power struggles at Stewart's new firm, the competition between associates Rick and Erica, more revelations from Ted's past in New York, and, of course, those tantalizing new developments in Lester's murder case that suggest our client might not be as innocent as he claims. So grab your coffee, settle in, and don't forget to hit that subscribe button and notification bell so you never miss our in-depth episode analyses. Now, let's head back to Los Angeles and see how Ted Black is handling his new reality. Episode 2 opens with Ted settling into his new temporary office space, a far cry from the sleek Black Lane building we saw in the premiere. He's speaking with Erica about one of their entertainment clients, actress Dylan Pryor, who has 2 films to her name and was recently signed. Ted wants Erica to take point as his new head of entertainment, showing that despite his current focus on Lester's case, he's still trying to maintain the entertainment side of his practice. Meanwhile, Kevin has arrived from New York and immediately starts digging into Lester Thompson's case files. His approach is markedly different from Ted's. Where Ted wants to believe in Lester's innocence, Kevin is skeptical and methodical, examining every piece of evidence with a prosecutor's eye. This dynamic creates immediate tension between them, despite their history together. Ted consults with Amanda, a legal colleague we briefly met in the premiere, about Old Man Hanrahan, the district attorney he expects to face in court. Amanda warns Ted that Hanrahan is a formidable opponent with decades of experience and an impressive win record. Armed with this information, Ted prepares to meet Hanrahan, only to discover he's actually facing Elizabeth Smith, a young, ambitious prosecutor with something to prove. The meeting with Smith doesn't go well. She offers Ted a plea deal that would see Lester serve significant time, which Ted immediately refuses. Smith then reveals the mountain of evidence against Lester: multiple eyewitnesses attesting to Lester's history of lying, the victim's blood found on Lester, and a coroner's report inconsistent with suicide, which must have been Lester's initial defense. Ted leaves the meeting shaken but determined. In a parallel storyline, we follow Erica as she attempts to keep Dylan Pryor as a client. She enlists the help of Leah, an assistant who claims to be a big fan of Dylan's work. They prepare for a meeting with Dylan's agents, but when they arrive, it's clear that Rick, now working for Stewart, is also pursuing the client. What follows is a competitive back and forth as both associates try to prove they're the better choice for Dylan's representation. Over at Stewart's new firm, we see him clashing with his co-partner, Samantha. Stewart has named Rick as the new head of entertainment without consulting Samantha, undermining the hierarchy they established. Samantha makes it clear she won't tolerate Stewart's behavior, setting up a power struggle that mirrors the one Ted and Stewart had in the premiere. Yo. The episode also features significant flashbacks to Ted's time in New York in 2010. We see the aftermath of the explosion that killed his witness Billy in the Gustini case. Ted attends a comedy club with Samantha, revealed to be his girlfriend at the time, and is mocked by a comedian who does impressions. Initially annoyed, Ted soon gets an idea. He hires the comedian to impersonate Billy's voice to trick a hitman into thinking Billy is still alive. This unorthodox and ethically questionable tactic works, giving Ted the information he needs to pursue his case against Gustini. Back in the present, Kevin and Ted continue to investigate Lester's case and make a disturbing discovery. Lester was stealing money from Simon's, the victim, account. Lester claims Simon was embezzling production funds, so he took the money back and has receipts to prove the studio was reimbursed. However, Kevin warns Ted that this financial motive could be damning evidence against Lester. The episode's climax comes when Smith returns with another bombshell. Simon was having an affair with Lester's wife. Whether Lester knew about this or not, it gives him a powerful motive for murder. As Smith leaves, she encounters Amanda, and we learn they have history. Smith was responsible for a case that went wrong, resulting in the death of someone named Dante Everson. Amanda promises that if Ted asks for help, she'll provide it. And Ted overhears this conversation. In the final moments, Rick reveals to Erica that Dylan has chosen to sign with him instead of her, citing his better understanding of the entertainment business. We also learn that Rick and Erica dated briefly in the past, adding another layer to their competitive relationship. The episode ends with Ted contemplating asking Amanda to join his team for Lester's defense, recognizing that he needs all the help he can get against Elizabeth Smith. Episode 2 significantly deepens our understanding of the characters introduced in the premiere while revealing new facets of their personalities and relationships. Ted Black continues to be a study in contrasts. In the present timeline, we see him struggling to adapt to his new reality, building a practice from scratch while defending a client who might be guilty. Stephen Amell brilliantly portrays Ted's determination mixed with vulnerability. There's a moment when Ted looks at his temporary office and briefly lets his confident facade slip, revealing genuine uncertainty about his path forward. Yet when facing Elizabeth Smith, that trademark Ted Black confidence returns, even if it might be more bravado than substance. The flashbacks to 2010 reveal even more about Ted's morally flexible approach to justice. His decision to use a comedian to impersonate a dead witness crosses major ethical lines, showing that Ted's questionable tactics didn't begin and end with emotionally blackmailing witnesses. This adds complexity to his character. He's not simply a ruthless prosecutor who saw the light, but someone who repeatedly bent rules to achieve what he believed was justice. We also learn more about Ted's personal life through his past relationship with Samantha. Their interactions show a Ted who's passionate but somewhat dismissive of entertainment law, calling it not real law in one particularly revealing moment. This gives us insight into his initial reluctance to practice entertainment law in LA and suggests his move to that field might have been more about escaping his past than genuine interest. Kevin emerges as a more fully formed character in this episode. He's methodical, skeptical, and not afraid to challenge Ted's instincts about Lester. Where Ted wants to believe in his client's innocence, Kevin approaches the case like the prosecutor he used to be, looking for holes in Lester's story. This creates a fascinating dynamic where Kevin serves as Ted's conscience and reality check. Their relationship has echoes of Harvey and Mike from the original Suits, but with a darker, more complex history. Elizabeth Smith proves to be a formidable antagonist, young, ambitious, and thoroughly prepared. She arrives with comprehensive knowledge of Lester's case and is 2 steps ahead of Ted at every turn. What makes her particularly interesting is that she's not just a legal opponent, but someone with personal history connected to Amanda. This adds layers to what could have been a standard adversarial relationship and promises interesting developments as the season progresses. Lester Thompson becomes more complex and potentially less sympathetic in this episode. The revelation that he was taking money from Simon's account, regardless of his justification, casts doubt on his character. And the bombshell about Simon's affair with Lester's wife creates serious questions about his innocence. The show cleverly keeps us guessing, is Lester genuinely being framed, or is Ted defending a guilty man? The ambiguity creates tension and moral complexity that elevates the legal storyline. Rick and Erica's competitive relationship takes center stage in their subplot, with the revelation of their past romantic involvement adding emotional stakes to their professional rivalry. Rick shows himself to be shrewder than his initial presentation in the premiere suggested. His successful poaching of Dylan Pryor demonstrates genuine talent and insight, making him a more worthy adversary for Erica. Meanwhile, Erica's admission that she doesn't actually watch much TV or movies, but just wanted to be where the action is, reveals vulnerability beneath her confident exterior. Stewart continues his evolution into a more antagonistic character. His clashes with Samantha show that his treatment of Ted wasn't an isolated incident, but part of a pattern of behavior. He encourages Rick to poach clients from Ted, revealing a vindictive streak. Yet the show wisely avoids making him a one-dimensional villain. His concerns about hierarchy and firm management are legitimate, even if his methods are questionable. Samantha emerges as a significant character who won't let Stewart get away with the same behavior that drove Ted away. Their power struggle promises to be an ongoing source of tension, with Samantha potentially becoming an ally to Ted down the line, given their past relationship. Amanda's history with Elizabeth Smith adds unexpected depth to her character. The mysterious case involving Dante Everson suggests she has her own past regrets and motivations for helping Ted. Her promise to come running if Ted asks for help sets up what could be a critical alliance in future episodes. Even minor characters like Leah get moments of development. Her admission to Erica that she's not actually a film buff, but pretended to be one to seem knowledgeable parallels Erica's own confession about not watching much entertainment content. This suggests a theme about authenticity versus performance that runs throughout the episode. Let's break down the most pivotal scenes and moments from this richly layered second episode. The cold open immediately establishes the new status quo, with Ted operating out of temporary offices but maintaining his confident demeanor despite the setback. When he tells Erica she's his new head of entertainment, it's a powerful statement. He's not just surviving, he's rebuilding. This scene effectively sets the tone for Ted's journey in this episode, adapting to new circumstances while refusing to be defeated. The first meeting between Ted and Kevin since Ted's recruitment trip to New York crackles with tension. Kevin immediately questions Ted's judgment in taking Lester's case, and their dialogue reveals subtle details about their past working relationship. When Kevin says, "You always did have a blind spot for clients you believe in," it suggests a history of Ted letting his convictions override evidence, a character flaw that might prove significant as the case progresses. Perhaps the most shocking scene comes when Ted arrives to meet the anticipated old man hey legal drama enthusiasts. Welcome back to the channel. Today we're continuing our deep dive into Suits LA with a comprehensive breakdown of Episode 2, Old Man Hanrahan. If you missed our analysis of the premiere episode, make sure to check that out first. The link is in the description below. Last week, we saw Ted Black's world turned upside down when his partner Stewart betrayed him, breaking up their firm just as Ted committed to defending Lester Thompson in a high-profile murder case. We also learned about Ted's complicated past as a New York prosecutor and his supernatural connection to his deceased brother, Eddie. The premiere set the stage for what's proving to be a far more complex and psychologically nuanced show than many expected from a Suits spin-off. Episode 2 picks up right where we left off, with Ted scrambling to establish his new practice while building a defense for Lester Thompson. But what seemed like a challenging case in the premiere becomes even more complicated when Ted discovers his client has been keeping secrets that give him a clear motive for murder. Before we dive into the nitty gritty details, here's your standard spoiler warning. This video will break down everything from Old Man Hanrahan, including all major plot developments and revelations. If you haven't watched the episode yet, now's your chance to pause this video and come back after you've experienced it for yourself. Still with me? Great. For this hour-long breakdown, I'll be covering everything: the development of Ted's defense strategy, the professional rivalry between Erica and Rick, the power struggle at Stewart's new firm, the revealing flashbacks to Ted's prosecutor days, and the bombshell revelations about Lester's case. So, grab your coffee, settle in, and don't forget to hit that subscribe button and notification bell so you never miss our in-depth episode analyses. Now let's dive into Ted Black's increasingly complicated world. Episode 2 opens with Ted in his new makeshift office, taking stock of his situation after Stewart's betrayal. He's already designated Erica as his new head of entertainment and tasks her with looking after a recently signed client, actress Dylan Pryor, who has 2 films to her name. This immediately establishes one of the episode's main subplots: Erica's efforts to prove herself in her new role while fending off Rick's attempts to poach clients. Meanwhile, Ted's primary focus remains Lester Thompson's murder case. He meets with Kevin, who accepted the $400,000 offer from the premier, and Amanda to discuss strategy. Ted initially believes they'll be facing Old Man Hanrahan, a veteran DA known for his tough but fair approach. Instead, they discover their opponent is Elizabeth Smith, a ruthless prosecutor with something to prove. When Smith offers a plea deal, Ted immediately refuses, showing his confidence in Lester's innocence despite mounting evidence. The prosecution's case seems formidable: eyewitnesses attesting to Lester's history of lying, the victim's blood on Lester, and a coroner's report inconsistent with suicide. Ted's unwavering belief in his client is reminiscent of Harvey Specter's loyalty, though Kevin remains skeptical about Lester's truthfulness. The episode intercuts this main plot with flashbacks to 2010 New York, revealing more about Ted's past. After losing his key witness in the mob case to an explosion, which we saw in the premiere, Ted attends a comedy club with Samantha, who was apparently his girlfriend at the time and already an entertainment lawyer. In a moment of desperation and ingenuity, Ted recruits the comedian to impersonate his dead witness's voice to scare a hitman into confessing, a morally questionable tactic that succeeds but clearly crosses ethical lines. Back in the present, Kevin and Ted dig deeper into Lester's case and discover that Simon, the murder victim, was embezzling funds from their joint production. Lester admits he took the money back, but insists he repaid the studio. This financial motive complicates their defense, but Ted remains unfazed until Smith drops a bombshell. Simon was having an affair with Lester's wife, providing Lester with an even stronger motive for murder. Meanwhile, Erica struggles with her new responsibilities. Despite help from her assistant Leah, who claims to be a fan of Dylan Pryor's work, Erica's lack of entertainment industry knowledge becomes apparent when Dylan's agents play hardball with her schedule. Rick seizes this opportunity, approaching Dylan directly and ultimately convincing her to sign with him instead, citing his better understanding of the entertainment business. Over at Stewart's new firm, tensions rise between Stewart and his co-partner Samantha, a character connection to the original Suits. When Stewart names Rick as the new head of entertainment without consulting her, Samantha confronts him about undermining their partnership hierarchy. She makes it clear she won't tolerate his power plays, forcing Stewart to backtrack and inform Rick that the promotion isn't immediate. Instead, Stewart encourages Rick to prove himself by poaching top clients from Ted. The episode culminates with 2 significant revelations. First, we learn that Rick and Erica have a romantic history. They briefly dated before Erica ended things, possibly because she saw Rick as a weaker lawyer. Second, and more dramatically, Amanda reveals her own history with prosecutor Elizabeth Smith. Apparently, Smith was responsible for a case that went south, resulting in the death of someone named Dante Everson. This personal vendetta motivates Amanda to offer her help to Ted, who overhears this conversation, setting up a potential team up for the next episode. The final scene shows Ted contemplating these new developments in his office, with Eddie's ghost appearing to offer characteristically blunt advice about the challenges ahead. Episode 2 significantly expands our understanding of the main characters while introducing important new players to the Suits LA universe. Ted Black continues to be a study in contrasts. His unwavering belief in Lester's innocence despite mounting evidence shows his loyalty to clients, but the flashbacks reveal just how far he's willing to bend the rules to win. The scene where he uses a comedian to impersonate his dead witness demonstrates both his creativity and his ethical flexibility. Stephen Amell continues to impress in the role, particularly in the quieter moments where Ted struggles with the weight of his choices. We also see Ted's arrogance in the flashbacks when he dismisses entertainment law as not real law while talking to Samantha, an ironic stance given his later career pivot. Kevin becomes more defined in this episode, emerging as the pragmatic counterpoint to Ted's idealism. He's the first to suspect Lester is hiding something and consistently pushes Ted to consider the evidence objectively rather than relying on gut feelings. Their dynamic establishes a clear parallel to Harvey and Mike from the original series, though with important differences. Kevin has more experience than Mike did, and he's not afraid to challenge Ted directly. Their brief reminiscence about Harvey Specter serves as a nice callback to the original series without being heavy-handed. Erica's character development takes center stage in one of the main subplots. Her ambition and competitiveness are evident, but we also see her vulnerabilities when she fails to retain Dylan Pryor as a client. The revelation that she's not actually interested in TV and movies but just wanted to be where the action is adds complexity to her character. She's pretending to be something she's not to advance her career. Her past relationship with Rick adds another layer to their professional rivalry, suggesting their competition is fueled by personal history as well as ambition. Rick gets more screen time that develops him beyond the eager associate we saw in the premiere. His successful poaching of Dylan Pryor shows he has genuine talent and empathy for clients, not just ambition. The revelation about his past with Erica humanizes him, suggesting that beneath his competitive exterior is someone who was hurt when Erica ended their relationship. His comment that she saw him as a weaker lawyer indicates insecurities that likely drive his current need to prove himself. Elizabeth Smith emerges as a formidable antagonist, sharp, ruthless, and with her own scores to settle. Unlike the old man Hanrahan Ted expected to face, Smith represents a new generation of prosecutors who are just as morally flexible as Ted was in his prosecutor days. Her history with Amanda adds personal stakes to what would otherwise be a straightforward legal battle, suggesting this case is about more than just Lester Thompson's guilt or innocence. Amanda's role expands significantly when we learn about her history with Smith and the mysterious Dante Everson case. Her offer to help Ted fight Smith hints at a deeper story that will likely unfold in future episodes. This development positions Amanda as more than just Ted's colleague. She may become a crucial ally with her own motivations for seeing Smith defeated. Stewart's character takes an interesting turn as we see him navigate his new partnership with Samantha. His attempt to unilaterally promote Rick shows he hasn't learned from his mistakes with Ted. He still believes he can make major decisions without consulting his partner. Samantha's forceful pushback reveals the limits of Stewart's authority in this new arrangement, suggesting he may have traded one challenging partnership for another. Samantha emerges as a compelling character in her own right. Her past relationship with Ted adds complexity to the present-day dynamics, while her confrontation with Stewart establishes her as a force to be reckoned with. Unlike Ted, who initially accepted Stewart's dominance in their partnership, Samantha immediately sets boundaries and demands respect. Her character brings welcome feminine power to the traditionally male-dominated legal drama format. Lester Thompson becomes more complex as we learn he's been hiding crucial information from his lawyers. The revelation that he took money back from Simon and that Simon was having an affair with his wife transforms him from a potentially innocent victim to someone with clear motives for murder. The question now isn't just whether he's guilty, but how much he's manipulating Ted, which creates interesting parallels to Ted's own manipulative tactics as a prosecutor. Eddie's ghost continues to serve as Ted's conscience and confidant. His appearances are less frequent in this episode, but no less impactful. The final scene where he appears in Ted's office provides a moment of emotional grounding amid the escalating legal complications. This expanded cast of characters creates a rich tapestry of relationships and conflicts that goes beyond the simple good guys versus bad guys dynamic that legal dramas sometimes fall into. Each character has their own agenda, their own secrets, and their own reasons for the choices they make, creating numerous possibilities for development as the season progresses. Let's break down the most pivotal scenes and moments from this packed second episode. The episode opens with Ted assigning Erica as head of entertainment, immediately establishing her new role and responsibilities. This scene is crucial as it shows Ted's faith in Erica, despite her relative inexperience, and it sets up the professional challenge she'll face throughout the episode. Ted's comment about wanting Dylan Pryor looked after foreshadows the importance of this client relationship. Our first introduction to Elizabeth Smith comes when Ted arrives, expecting to meet Old Man Hanrahan, but instead finds a younger, sharper, and more aggressive prosecutor. This subverted expectation mirrors Ted's own situation. Just as he's been forced to adapt to unexpected changes, now he must adapt his legal strategy to a different opponent than anticipated. Smith's immediate offer of a plea deal and Ted's reflexive rejection establishes their adversarial relationship right from the start. The flashback to the comedy club in 2010 provides crucial insight into Ted's character and his relationship with Samantha. His dismissive comment about entertainment law not being real law reveals his professional arrogance at that time, while Samantha's reaction shows she's not intimidated by his prosecutor status. More importantly, this scene leads to Ted's inspiration to use the comedian as part of his legal strategy, demonstrating his willingness to think outside the box. The scene where Ted and Kevin use the comedian to impersonate the dead witness is perhaps the most morally questionable moment in the episode. This elaborate deception succeeds in scaring the hitman into revealing crucial information, but it crosses ethical lines that even Samantha recognizes when she confronts Ted later. His apology for operating in a sleazy way acknowledges his awareness of these ethical breaches even as he continues to employ them. This scene perfectly illustrates why Ted eventually left criminal law. He was too willing to compromise his ethics to win. The interrogation scene between Ted, Kevin, and Lester represents a turning point in the case. When confronted about the financial irregularities, Lester finally admits he took money back from Simon, but insists he repaid the studio. This partial confession raises red flags for Kevin, who recognizes that if Lester lied about this, he might be lying about other aspects of the case as well. Ted's continued belief in Lester's innocence despite this revelation shows either admirable loyalty or dangerous naivety. Erica's struggles with Dylan Pryor's agents provide some of the episode's most relatable moments. Her confidence turns to uncertainty when the agents play hardball with Dylan's schedule, exposing Erica's lack of experience in entertainment law. This professional setback is made more poignant by Leah's later admission that she's not actually a fan of Dylan's work. She just pretended to be to help Erica. This parallel deception underscores the theme that everyone in this world is pretending to be something they're not. Rick's successful poaching of Dylan Pryor represents both a professional triumph for him and a devastating loss for Erica. The scene where he delivers this news offering humble pie showcases the complex relationship between these former lovers. His explanation that Dylan chose him because he has a better understanding of the entertainment business and more empathy toward clients suggests that Erica's aggressive approach may not always be the most effective strategy. This moment forces Erica to confront her own limitations and consider whether she needs to change her approach. The confrontation between Stuart and Samantha over Rick's promotion provides insight into the power dynamics at the new firm. Samantha's refusal to accept Stuart's unilateral decision making shows she won't be the passive partner that Ted was. Her comment about not taking Stuart's BS establishes her as a formidable presence who will challenge Stuart at every turn. This scene suggests that Stuart may have escaped one difficult partnership only to enter another, with the key difference being that Samantha won't let him dominate. The revelation about Rick and Erica's past relationship comes during a quiet moment after the professional conflict has been resolved. This personal history adds emotional weight to their rivalry and suggests that their competition is about more than just career advancement. Rick's belief that Erica ended things because she saw him as a weaker lawyer reveals his insecurities and provides motivation for his current drive to prove himself professionally. The episode's most shocking revelation comes when Smith visits Ted and drops the bombshell that Simon was having an affair with Lester's wife. This new information provides Lester with an even stronger motive for murder and further complicates Ted's defense strategy. The timing of this revelation, after Ted has already committed fully to Lester's defense, maximizes its dramatic impact and raises the stakes for future episodes. The chance encounter between Smith and Amanda in the hallway delivers the episode's final twist. Their tense exchange reveals a shared history involving a case that went south and resulted in someone named Dante Everson's death. Amanda's promise to help Ted if asked, and Ted overhearing this conversation sets up a potential alliance that could change the direction of Lester's case. This scene masterfully connects the personal and professional aspects of the legal drama, showing how past relationships and grudges influence present-day legal battles. The episode closes with Ted alone in his office, contemplating these new developments when Eddie's ghost appears with a characteristically blunt assessment of the situation. This quiet moment allows the audience to process the episode's revelations while reminding us of Ted's ongoing supernatural connection to his brother. The final shot of Ted looking out at the LA skyline parallels the ending of the premiere, suggesting that despite all the new complications, Ted remains determined to forge his own path. Old Man Hanrahan significantly improves upon the premiere by focusing more tightly on character development and establishing clearer stakes for the ongoing legal drama. Where the first episode sometimes felt overwhelmed by the sheer volume of plot threads and character introductions, this second installment benefits from a more focused approach that allows each storyline room to breathe. The most notable improvement comes in the balance between the present-day narrative and the flashbacks to Ted's prosecutor days. Rather than simply providing background information, these flashbacks now directly inform Ted's current approach to Lester's case. The parallel between Ted's ethically questionable tactics as a prosecutor and his current defense strategy creates a compelling character study of someone wrestling with their own moral compass. Stephen Amell continues to impress in these scenes, conveying Ted's internal struggle without resorting to melodrama. The introduction of Elizabeth Smith as the prosecutor instead of the expected old man Hanrahan is a brilliant subversion of expectations. It establishes that this show is willing to surprise viewers and avoids the predictable scenario of Ted facing a crusty veteran prosecutor. Smith represents a worthy adversary for Ted, someone just as sharp and determined as he is, but with personal motivations that make the legal battle more than just a professional contest. The episode's handling of the Erica-Rick rivalry demonstrates the show's understanding of workplace dynamics. Their competition over Dylan Pryor feels authentic rather than contrived, with each using their specific strengths and weaknesses. The revelation of their romantic history adds emotional depth to what could have been a standard professional rivalry, suggesting that personal relationships will be just as important as legal maneuvering in this series. One of the episode's strengths is its willingness to complicate our perception of the main characters. Ted's unwavering belief in Lester's innocence despite mounting evidence could be seen as admirable loyalty or dangerous self-deception. Similarly, Lester himself becomes more complex, as we learn about his financial deception and the affair between Simon and his wife. The show resists the temptation to present clear heroes and villains, instead offering morally ambiguous characters making difficult choices in complicated situations. The power dynamics at Stewart's new firm provide an interesting counterpoint to Ted's struggling solo practice. Stewart's attempt to assert dominance by unilaterally promoting Rick backfires when Samantha pushes back forcefully. This storyline effectively illustrates that interpersonal conflicts follow Stewart even into his new venture, suggesting that the problem might be his approach to partnerships rather than Ted specifically. The supernatural element with Eddie's ghost remains one of the show's most distinctive features. While used more sparingly in this episode, Eddie's appearances still provide emotional grounding for Ted's character. The fact that Ted continues to see his brother's ghost while handling a high-stakes murder case raises intriguing questions about his mental state and how it might affect his legal judgment. If there's a weakness in this episode, it's the somewhat abrupt introduction of Amanda's history with Smith and the mysterious Dante Everson case. While this revelation creates interesting possibilities for future episodes, it feels slightly forced as a way to bring Amanda more directly into Lester's defense. The show could have benefited from more subtle foreshadowing of this connection earlier in the episode. Overall, Old Man Hanrahan represents a significant step forward for Suits, L.A., finding a better balance between legal drama, character development, and the supernatural elements that distinguish it from its predecessor. The episode successfully deepens our understanding of the main characters while raising the stakes for future installments. If the show can maintain this trajectory, it has the potential to establish itself as a worthy successor to the original Suits rather than simply trading on its name recognition. The episode leaves us with several burning questions and teases for episode 3, titled He Knew. First and foremost is how Ted will handle the revelation about Simon's affair with Lester's wife. This bombshell provides Lester with a clear motive for murder and severely complicates Ted's defense strategy. The title, He Knew, suggests a focus on knowledge and awareness, perhaps indicating that Lester knew about the affair before Simon's death, which would strengthen the prosecution's case. Alternatively, it could refer to Ted's growing awareness that his client might not be as innocent as he claims. Amanda's offer to help Ted fight Smith sets up an intriguing alliance for episode 3. Her personal history with Smith and the mysterious Dante Everson case adds emotional stakes to what was previously just a professional contest. The preview shows Amanda and Ted strategizing together, suggesting she'll play a more active role in Lester's defense. This collaboration may reveal more about both characters' pasts and the circumstances surrounding the Dante Everson case. The professional rivalry between Erica and Rick is likely to escalate after his successful poaching of Dylan Pryor. With Rick encouraged by Stewart to continue targeting Ted's clients, we can expect more competitive interactions between these former lovers. The preview hints at Erica developing a new strategy to counter Rick's tactics, perhaps drawing on her newfound awareness of her limitations in the entertainment field to develop a more authentic approach. Stewart and Samantha's power struggle at the new firm promises to continue developing. Their fundamental disagreement about hierarchy and decision-making can't be resolved in a single conversation, and Stewart's tendency to overreach will likely create more conflicts. The preview suggests that Samantha may take more direct control over certain aspects of the firm, potentially undermining Stewart's authority further. Kevin's skepticism about Lester's innocence creates an interesting dynamic within the defense team. While Ted remains convinced of his client's innocence despite mounting evidence, Kevin's more objective assessment may prove valuable as they prepare for trial. The preview shows a tense conversation between Kevin and Ted, suggesting their different approaches to the case may come to a head in episode 3. The flashbacks to Ted's prosecutor days have thus far focused on the Roberto Gostini case, but hints about Ted's brother Eddie's murder and his father's potential involvement suggest we may soon see flashbacks to that traumatic event. Understanding the circumstances of Eddie's death would provide crucial context for why Ted continues to see his brother's ghost and how this tragedy shaped his career choices. Lester Thompson himself remains something of an enigma. Is he truly innocent of murder despite having clear motives and opportunity? Or is he manipulating Ted with a partial truth strategy, admitting to lesser wrongdoing, the financial irregularities, to appear honest while hiding his guilt in Simon's death? The preview shows a more emotional Lester, perhaps breaking down under the pressure of the mounting evidence against him. All these threads coming together promise an episode that will further develop the unique identity of Suits LA while raising the stakes for all characters involved. The show appears to be finding its rhythm, balancing legal drama with character development and the supernatural elements that distinguish it from its predecessor. Old Man Hanrahan significantly strengthens Suits LA's case for being more than just a spin off trading on its predecessor's name recognition. By focusing more tightly on character development and establishing clearer stakes for the ongoing legal drama, this second episode finds a better balance between honoring the Suits legacy and charting its own course. The episode's strengths lie in its willingness to complicate our perceptions of the main characters and their motivations. Ted's unwavering belief in Lester, despite mounting evidence, shows either admirable loyalty or dangerous self-deception. Lester himself becomes more complex as we learn about his financial deception and the affair between Simon and his wife. The show resists the temptation to present clear heroes and villains, instead offering morally ambiguous characters, making difficult choices in complicated situations. Stephen Amell continues to impress as Ted Black, bringing nuance to a character who could easily have been a one-note legal shark. His scenes with Kevin provide some of the episode's best moments, establishing a dynamic that recalls Harvey and Mike from the original series while feeling distinct and fresh. The brief callback to Harvey Specter acknowledges the show's roots without being heavy-handed about the connection. The introduction of Elizabeth Smith as a formidable antagonist with personal connections to Amanda adds emotional depth to the legal proceedings. By making the case about more than just Lester's guilt or innocence, the show raises the stakes for all involved and creates multiple layers of conflict that can sustain viewer interest over the season. The supernatural element with Eddie's ghost remains one of the show's most distinctive features. While used more sparingly in this episode, Eddie's appearances still provide emotional grounding for Ted's character. This unique aspect of Suits LA helps distinguish it from both its predecessor and other legal dramas. If the first episode established the players and the playing field, this second installment sets the game in motion with clearer rules and higher stakes. The various plot threads, Ted's defense of Lester, Erica's professional challenges, Stuart and Samantha's power struggle, the flashbacks to Ted's prosecutor days now feel more interconnected and purposeful rather than simply competing for attention. What did you think of Old Man Hanrahan? Are you Team Ted or Team Stuart? Do you believe Lester is innocent despite the mounting evidence? And what's your theory about the mysterious Dante Everson case that connects Amanda and Smith? Let me know in the comments below. If you enjoyed this breakdown, please hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and share with your fellow legal drama enthusiasts. I'll be back next week with a full breakdown of Episode 3, He Knew, so make sure you've got those notifications turned on. Until next time, this is Amelia 2.00, making sense of the legal chaos one episode at a time.